What's up, guys? Welcome back to another fun-filled adventure day as we are working on our portion, at least, of building a brand new manufactured home. In today's video, the name of my game is Waterline Stub-Out. In our other video where we prepared our property before any grading started, we used some blue marking paint and painted on the ground where we were pretty sure our waterline was installed. Well, in today's video, we get to see how accurate or inaccurate we were, because I need to dig it up in this kind of location here. I need to find it, install a T, and then trench that way underneath the new house pad to install a pipe and let it stub out of the ground underneath the house. It has to be inside the perimeter of the home. So, first things first, let's get old mini micro, the tiniest excavator over here, and let's start doing some digging. It was far easier for me just to make a couple of trips back and forth to the shop rather than drive this little turtle over just to swap a bucket out and then drive back. Probably also a lot faster too. So I want to take off the 16-inch bucket and I want to put on my 8-inch wide bucket. And to do that, it's just these two lock nuts. Take them out, push the pins back. This guy will fall, hopefully not on our toesies. Lift the other one up, put them in, and you're good to go. I was looking recently on the website for this manufacturer, which is AHM Corporation, and they have a quick attach they now sell for buckets and implements. Probably would be worthwhile getting, but for now, just doing it this way. How did that get so tight? I hate adjustable wrenches. I mean, they're handy, don't get me wrong, but frustrating too, right? I bet it would be pretty cool if I can get my hands on some 1/4-inch steel or maybe 3/8 inch steel. I could probably use my water jet and make custom sized wrenches just to throw on the Mini X to take these off. That would be pretty fun. Yeah, we'll stick that in my back pocket for a rainy day, right? Good, these guys are tapping right out. I made sure I greased the bolts, or rather the pins, whenever I last swapped the buckets, and so that's really helpful at this point. Very helpful to do. I'll just pull this guy out. There we go. That actually worked out well. I almost think this replacement 8-inch bucket is heavier than the 16-inch. Installation is the reverse of removal. There we go. And we get our wrench and we crank her down. I'll also be really mindful of these to see if I notice them backing out at all. I don't know if I got a separate set of pins that I'm forgetting, but these are just barely grabbing the nylock portion of the lock nuts. So keep some eyes on that one as we're digging, right? All right, let's go. I've placed myself pretty much in line from our blue paint up there all the way down to our blue paint right here. So I think I'm somewhere on top of the water line. The next thing I've done is line myself up with the house pad. Right about here is where I think I want the trench to be. I want it to be able to run and come up between the two frame rails of the house. So I think this is a pretty good spot to aim for. Now it's just a matter of finding the water line without breaking it, because it's still under pressure. Yeah, this will be fun. The name of this game is Be Careful. Do not break the water line. So I'm going to be going very slow and very careful. Once I'm down a little ways, I may stop using this guy and I may dig it by hand. We will see. But I really am trying not to give ourselves an in-ground water feature today. So as I'm digging this trench, I want to explain why exactly it is that I'm even doing this to begin with. We're having our new home built for us. We've got everything signed and included in this home construction process, so it probably doesn't make sense why I'm out here working. The reason I'm doing this is our official quote for grading was for the house pad, the concrete footers, the backfill, and the septic tie-in. There was not a line item for the water line connection. The house grader offered to do the stub out while he was here working as well, but when we got to talking about the water line and I told him how what we have is a 1-inch diameter CTS SDR9 pipe and is not just your standard PEX, I could tell by his body language that he was thinking, oh boy, I've got myself into a pickle with this one, or the guy doesn't have a clue what's in the ground. I kind of left it at that point and didn't bring it up again, and I think he was probably glad I didn't, so we kind of had a silent truce on that subject. Either way, that's the story behind why you see me doing this project today. All right guys, that's as far as I'm going to go with the excavator. I want to put in a little bit of sweat equity on this, and I'm going to dig this by hand with a shovel. Might be more here. My, that guy is down there a little ways, isn't it? No one can accuse me of not burying my water line deep enough. It's about 30 inches deep when standard is around 12 inches out here where we live. If you notice in the trench here, I dug a deeper section off to one end. That is to become my well or pond or holding area for all of the water that is going to gush into this trench when we cut open our water line pipe. We have about 300 feet from here to our water tap at the road, and we are slightly downhill from there, which means every bit of that water in that pipe is going to come say hey to us as soon as we cut it. I want to make sure it's out of the way when it does say hey. However, before I cut the pipe, I want to go ahead and continue with this new trench going towards the new house pad so that I can get all of this other work done ahead of time before I ever cut the water. Because at that point, I'll be disconnecting the water for the house, and everyone else who's in the house may need water, and I don't want them having to wait on me to figure things out. And I also don't want to work in this trench whenever it's wet. I want to do that at the very last second if I can help it. Ready?
Yeah.
All right, pick it up.
What's that weird smell?
The smell of the steel striking each other and kind of flinting off. All right, maybe use your mattock. The little black. Yeah. Making any headway? How far are we, you think?
Right, maybe that far.
Oh, okay.
Almost half.
At least something's working. Well, I might be admitting temporary defeat. I don't really have the tools to get underneath this concrete, I have a pickaxe slash mattock combo, but the wooden handle's cracking on me. So that's not working very well from a handle aspect. Then we've got this big giant breaker bar, which is working, but the farther I go, the more difficult it is to get it out. So Angela, not me, all right, Angela says, let's go to the store and let's get one of those 2-inch auger drill bits that are really designed to go through wood. And let's see if we can get one to do this. I told her, well, it's going to ruin the drill bit. It'll be a waste of money for a tool, most likely. To which she said, yeah, but wouldn't it make a job easier? I love her. So we're hitting the road. We're going to the store. Going to get a new pickaxe and mattock, and I guess we're going to get a big auger bit. See you when we get back. Maybe the sun will be out of my face then. We are back from our trip to Home Depot, and I've got a stack of stuff just in case, because it's like an hour and 20 minutes round trip, and hopefully one of these will work. So while we're in the store, Angela found these spade bits or paddle bits. This one's about 1 foot long. It's an inch diameter, which is the largest one they had in the store. So we got this in addition to this extension to give us about this much reach, maybe 2 feet, maybe. So this is what we're going to try first. We're going to literally try drilling through the earth. Many people have talked about it for millennia. We're going to make it happen, hopefully. If that goes south, I did buy one of these big old honkers. It is an inch diameter auger bit. It's very expensive, about 39 bucks. I'm not going to open this unless we need it, but I hope we don't. So let's take the cheaper tools, these guys, get down in the dirt and start drilling. Okay, so it looks like our drill bit should be long enough, especially since we kind of tunneled with a mattock. So let's see if Sam can fit down an 8-inch trench and get going. Well, that's about the best 20 bucks we spent. I mean, this bit may be toast, but this extension, still very much usable. And it worked. Best thing of all, it worked. Now we can push some pipe through our hole. There we go. It's a good tight fit. That's nice. So what I'm wanting to do is to make sure this is long enough to reach where it needs to connect. But then I need to see if I need to add an elbow and stub it out, or if we got enough play on this end just to bend it up. Looks like we got enough play, but let's try. All right, so yeah, we're good. That's plenty of room to bend. We're well above grade, and I don't have to put a joint down there, which is what I absolutely did not want to do. Awesome. All right, so for this end, all I'm gonna do is cap it. Just a little brass cap. We don't need to put a valve or nothing. We just want to cap it. So we'll put our Pro pinch clamp on. That goes this way. It's got a little arrow. You want the arrow pointing towards the pipe, not towards the end. Then we'll push on the cap. Maybe get a little love tap. There you go. And then this guy slides up just right there. And we're going to use our crimpers to just crimp this guy on. And with this, if you get a good crimp, the red piece comes right off. So there you go. All right, any of you hardcore pro plumbers out there thinking that's not gonna work, not great. I've used these for years. Probably about 9 years ago, I put a ton of these under that house. It got moved from North Carolina to here, no problems. So I am comfortable with these. You do what you want to. But this, so far, has worked for me. Maybe I jinxed myself. If I did, I'll tell you, just stick around. So let's take a look at the bits and bobbins we have. This is the big old T-piece that's going to go on our big 1-inch water line down in the ground. It's then going to attach to this, which is the transition. You got the clamp here, that's what you got. And now this gets stepped down to a 3/4 inch PEX. So this is what I was given from the professional plumbing supply store. So this is what I'll be using. What I need to do first, since it is so much easier to work here above ground, is to put some Teflon tape on my threads for this brass portion, and then here for this piece, and go ahead and tape them and cinch them down here above ground. This Teflon tape I'm using, or PTFE thread tape, is Blue Monster name brand. It's supposed to be one of the best ones you can get. In my book, it's well worth the little extra money to buy this because of where this is going to be installed at and its mission critical status. So buy what you want, I guess, but in case you're wondering, that's what I'm using for this. You always want to be careful and start all this stuff by hand. That way you're not cross-threading, and you know you're not cross-threading. Once you got it started and you're confident and you've given it all the oomph you can, then get your wrenches out and tighten it up the rest of the way. For this apparatus, this black plastic piece is what I'm wanting to be careful with. I don't want this guy splitting. It was not cheap. I always feel like I'm going to be like, pow! Hit me right in the face this way, but you just want to go it just as tight until your backside starts making noises. Okay, so we're at the point where we're going to go on a little bit of a walk, and we're going to turn off our water main, which is up here at the road. Then we need to release the pressure and drain it as much as we can from our water hydrant back there at the Angel's Old Soap building, but the white building you see. And then we're going to cut some pipe. All right, down in here in creepy crawly land, this thing right here is your valve for your water meter. So just a simple pair of channel locks, like that, twist it to the right. That's it, our water is now off. So we're ready to go and attach those pieces that I just cranked down to the end of this 3/4 inch PEX. Before that, I want to cut off the end because it looks a little gnarly. So I'm gonna use my ratcheting PEX cutters and just give them a nice snip. What you want is a nice clean edge, because that's gonna be very important for a proper seal on what I'm about to show you next. So what I'm about to show you next, as if the pinch clamps were not as much of a horror show to some of you pro plumbers, check this out. Shark bite, you know you love it. Shark bite fittings, if you don't know, are approved for direct bury in-ground uses, as long as in pocket number 2, you use this silicone underground wrap. You're going to hear just as many horror stories about using shark bite fittings as anything else in this world. But guess what? 4 years ago, this guy put 2 of them in the ground. 4 years ago, 0 leaks. I don't even know that I remember to put the tape on it at that point. So I'm comfortable doing this. If you're not, don't worry, do what you're comfortable with. But in case you didn't know, shark bites are push to connect. Done. That's it, good to go. So this stuff, you just give it a little bit of a stretch and it kind of clings to itself. And according to the instructions, after about 24 hours or so, it actually fuses and welds to itself, creating the watertight fit. Here's another little pro tip. If you don't want to get this dirty, which I don't, lay a tool across your ditch and then you can kind of let it fly. Yeah, there you go. Pro tip, I guess. Okay, the next thing that I'm going to do is the worst thing, or at least the most risky of this whole project, and that's actually cut our water line. And it is right now 6:30 p.m. on a Friday. The specialty plumbing store that sells this expensive black T-fitting closed at 5. They don't open again until Monday. An intelligent man would stop here and would not pursue this. But I think our house is being delivered possibly Monday. And I want this gone and cleaned up before then. Things did not go as planned yesterday. And this is why you're now seeing us here at this point in the morning of the following day. So long story short, I did not have enough SDR9 pipe, the big blue stuff already in the ground. Whenever I cut, the piece that I cut out wasn't long enough to use for my union. The plumbing supply store was closed. Today is Saturday. So last night was a really big how can we fix this? And basically what I did was to remove the big black T-piece, put a 3/4 inch PEX T-piece in its location pretty much, carrying through the SDR9 to our termination for the existing house, like the old stuff. I just moved the step down where it converts from SDR9 to 3/4 inch PEX further upstream. That means I'm not going to use my big black T-piece, but it did mean I had all the pieces to connect it and get everything back and working, with the exception of 3/4 inch PEX, which I went to the store late last night, picked up a roll, and as you see here, it's just literally patched and kind of strung over the ground from where the water's coming in to where the water needed to go to give water to the house last night. It wrong with this kind of setup. So while I didn't enjoy that adventure of critical thinking, I'm glad that it happened because I have a better system here in the end. Now I'm going to take this 100-foot long PEX pipe, which we patched in last night, put it up and over the Mini X, and then lay it down in the trench. Now, let's see how my T looks down there where you guys are. I decided to go ahead and shorten this T so that it's not getting bent or stressing this joint at all. This is the perk of the push to connect fitting though. It's easy to remove with a little tool, and then you can reuse it. Shot, you little trench cat. You make it kind of difficult. So this white PEX line is what's going to our house right now, and this blue one is the new one I've added. So I'm going to put a T right here because I also have to run a line this way, which goes to our greenhouse and then my workshop. There we go. Don't look, Angela. This is a towel out of the house. There we go. Ta-da! All right. Let's go up here. Water meter. Right down in here. See this little red, spiky wheel? That will tell you how much water you're using. If you watch it for a little bit, when I turn this on, it's also going to tell us if we got leaks. So, right here's our little valve. See if it's loose enough. Sweet. Now, check that guy out. Oh, it already stopped spinning. I don't know if you got to see it. We don't have any leaks, but then I didn't get to show you that. So let me give Angela the good old wave, tell her to turn on the water in the house. All right, see it moving now? Angela just turned on the faucets in the house. That's what water movement through the water meter looks like. Since it wasn't doing that before, we are good. Is he gonna go for it? Frisky kitty commercial right there. All right. This project is just about done. No leaks anywhere. We've checked the water in the house and the workshop and all that. We are all good. So now, with all our up with the waterproofing underground tape, it is time to backfill and try and forget about this. Maybe not. Maybe we should remember it. But either way, finish out this project. Such massive amount of work to only have a little tiny blue pipe sticking out of the ground in the end. But water is kind of nice to have. Over time, this trench will settle, but that's all right. We can come back and dress it up and fill it up as need be. But overall, I'm really happy to have this done. I really wanted to get this done before the house gets delivered, and I'm glad that I did, especially considering the difficulties we had tunneling under the footers. That would have been much, much more difficult and frustrating if the house was sitting here. That being said, I do think the next thing we will see out here is the house delivery. It is currently a Saturday, and I think they may be here Monday or Tuesday. So exciting times ahead, but at this point, I think I'm done with me doing this kind of stuff for now. I believe from here on out, it is the crew who gets paid to do it that will be doing this stuff, but will still be fun to see. So if you want to follow us along, go ahead and subscribe, all that kind of stuff. If you're here from the future, look down below. There's a link to the playlist that'll show you everything of us building this new home. Otherwise, take care, and we'll see you guys next time.